And I'm a veteran. So
Hi, veteran.
I was in the Army. I was in the Army from 1989 until 1994, which means I was out of the Army before most of you were born.
Probably all.
And while I was in the Army, and during that time, there was a conflict in Iraq called Desert Storm. And I was activated, and I spent a year and a half in Iraq serving under Desert Storm. So the rest of the time is mostly we did training and whatnot, but while we were there, I was an electronics technician, and I fixed equipment that the soldiers used in the tanks and the radios, and the things that they used to do communication. So what I did is I brought in my uniform. These weren't the what we call BDUs, battle dress uniforms, and that was the camouflage. But when you were dressed up for inspections, or if you were dressed up for an activity, this was the uniform that you would wear. And on the uniform, you have these little bars. And each of these little bars represents an award that was given to you by the Army for something that you did, or for having gone to Iraq, and things like that. So if you guys want to come up and take a look when you're allowed, you can take a look at the uniform, and I can tell you what all the different awards are.
In just a second.
If you do have a uniform, you have a unit patch. So whenever you're in the military, you're part of a group, and that's called your unit, and you get a patch that goes on your uniform. And even on your camouflage uniform, you wear the patch. If you have a second patch, that is the unit that you were assigned to when you were in combat, when you went to war. And then there's other different awards on here as well, and then there's also, they put little bars on here for how many years of service you have, and different things like that. And you also have qualifications that you have to do for training with rifle and other weapons. So you get awards for those, and your name, and the different types of things that you do. So this is what an Army uniform looks like, and this is what you would wear for inspections and things like that. And one of the neat things about the Army, and one of the things that I liked the most, was all the different people that you get to meet. When you live in Michigan, you know people from your neighborhood, or maybe you know somebody that lives in Ohio or Indiana, or you have a grandma that lives someplace else. When you're in the Army, you meet people from not only everywhere in the United States, but you meet people from all over the world. And when we were in Iraq, there was a lot of soldiers there, so we got to meet people from England, and we got to meet people from Saudi Arabia and Kuwait. And what I brought here, this is kind of interesting, was that we also got to meet people from France. And what this is, it's called a beret. And it's kind of old. I've had this for a long time. But this is the type of hat, and I traded one of my hats to a French Foreign Legion soldier. And these were the hats that they wore. It's called a beret. And this was their unit insignia. So you can even try it on if you want. You gotta be careful, there's some pins in here, but you would wear the beret on your head, kind of like this. And that's how they wore them. And some of the United States Army people do it too, but you can, if you want, you can take a look, pass it around. But that's from a French Foreign Legion soldier. And I also went through, I have a whole box of pictures, but I went through some of them real quick. And we'll pass these around if you want to look at them, and then I'll leave them if you want to look at them through the day. We didn't do a poster board, but like in this picture here, if you look on it, they're English letters, but they're also Arabic is what they call it. And this is how they write in Saudi Arabia. So if you look at they have street signs just like we do on their roads, and you can see here the one says there's a sign leading to Kuwait, which is the country that we went to go help when we went to Iraq the first time. So, and then there's Hafji is the other name of the town. So there's a picture of their street signs, and then this is a picture of when you're in the Army. We don't live in buildings, we don't live in cities, we live out in tents or in vehicles, but we have to have what's called defensive positions where you guard where you're living, and this is what that was. This was a picture of me when I was in the Army. I was 19 years old. In this one, you can see a little bit of our compound, but if you look at this picture in the distance, there was, everybody know what helicopters are?
Yeah.
There was a helicopter refueling station. This is where the helicopters would go to get more gas. And we'd see them come in. If you look in the distance in this picture, you'll see a helicopter landing. And then more pictures of street signs. I thought this was kind of interesting, because if you look in this picture, there's a store that the sign is for that we have in the United States. And it's for Sears. Everybody know what Sears is?
Yeah.
Yep, if you look at this picture, you'll see that there's Sears. And all these pictures were taken in the Saudi Arabian desert, very close to Iraq. And it was on the other side of the world. And these are where our vehicles, this is where we would work, and the camouflage that we put over them. So there's some pictures of that. There's a picture of this guy's name was Russell, but he's digging one of those defensive positions, so you can see what we did there. Some highway signs, and there's some more pictures of deserts. There's a city. You can see one of the cities that was over in Saudi Arabia. And there's one last picture here that I thought was kind of interesting. You guys might like. In this picture, when we left, they're called Bedouins. The people that lived in the desert in Saudi Arabia are called Bedouins. But they would come and they would take the wood and the things that we were leaving behind, and they used that. But there's a couple Bedouin kids here that were taking a picture with me and a couple of us, but you see in the picture, they're about your age. And if you look at them, they're making bunny ears behind the people in the pictures. So even over there, even though they look a lot different from you guys, they're really not. So if you guys want, you can pass these around, no big deal. And
Can I have kids come up and look at the uniform while they ask you questions? Or are you still going?
I
Sorry.
got one other thing
Okay.
I wanted to show you guys, and this is out of the 5 years I spent in the Army, this is the thing that is most special to me. And the reason being is that this is an award that was given to us from not the United States, but from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The King of Saudi Arabia gave all of us that went there one of these awards. They're very rare, and there's not very many out there. So if you were to look at this, and it's made out of solid gold, but this was given to us by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It even says it on here with the Arabic lettering. So you can take a look at that too. So you'll see they have the little bar, which is what you would wear on your uniform, but you also get a medal that you could, on some uniforms you would wear them for very special occasions or just to have for display. But this isn't from the United States, this is from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia given to us by a king. So you can take a look at this too. And then what Gage has here written down too is my dad was also a combat veteran. He served in the Vietnam War. And even further back than that, my grandfather served in World War II. So in almost every generation of my family, we've had somebody that has been in a conflict with the United States to help fight for people that needed help. So, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and ask.